mind. My name is Meenu Anand, and I have the privilege to lead the Global Cancer Prevention and Screening Program at the American Cancer Society. So I have 7 minutes, and I'm going to go fast. So let's start with a refresher on public health communication. Public health communication is not just about sharing information. It's purposeful, it's scientific, it's strategic exchange of messages. It connects the art and technique of informing, influencing, motivating individuals, institutionals, public audiences about important health issues, creating conditions in which people can be healthy. And remember that as we go through the conversations. Sorry. Impactful communications. Before embarking on any communication effort, we need to first think about who is the target audience, who we are trying to reach. And then secondly, what is the behavior that we want our target audience to either adopt or stop? It could be either, right? So generally speaking, of course, this may seem very, very obvious. Of course, we all know it. But there are some nuances to consider. And for the remainder of my presentation, as we discuss communication concepts and try to unpack some of the nuances, I will use the target audience as parents of 9 to 14-year-old girls, and the desired behavior is for parents to choose to vaccinate, to achieve optimal vaccinations when the vaccine is accessible and affordable. Knowing who the influencers, those who are impacting or those who are influencing the decision of your target audience is equally important. And why is that? Because in order to reach your target audience, you could of course reach them directly, but you can also reach them through those who are influencing their decision making. And who are they for parents of 9 to 14-year-old girls? These are the doctors, the community health workers, the health ministry, the teachers. We've seen teachers as the key influencers, and I think if Pakistan was here, they would share a story with us as well on that. And then, of course, in India in particular, in certain segments, religious leaders do play a big role as well. So therefore, when creating communication strategies, they could be targeted on the influencers, but of course you need to know who your influencer that you're targeting with your communication message. And then know who the trusted messengers are for your target audience. These are the individuals or groups recognized as credible sources of information. Research in many countries, including in India, shows parents trust healthcare workers, doctors, nurses, more than any other group. And you will see some of the messages that were collected through a qualitative study conducted in India. And of course, why do we need to know the trusted messengers? Because they can be leveraged to validate your communication, and we'll share some examples in a little bit. And then, of course, don't forget the civil society organizations. They are in a unique position as trusted voices for cancer and wellness, with significant influence on parents as well as community at large. So all communications involves framing, whether we recognize it or not. Phrases that may catch your attention in the images that are being projected right now. You can protect your children's future. You can stop cervical cancer, aligning with hope and aspirations for a healthy future for self and family. Aspirational framing has been proven to be effective in increasing the intent and vaccination, including in India. Again, this has been seen equally effective in screening as well. For HPV vaccination, I think we have seen and heard, you all are familiar, there are 2 common framings that are typically discussed or even used. It's either the disease prevention cancer prevention framing, or disease transmission. Cancer prevention is consistently more effective at increasing vaccine uptake. With this framing it's truthful. It provides accurate, accessible information that supports parental decision-making without fear or stigma, without creating any moral overtones. It keeps the focus on health. It aligns with how we talk about vaccine in general, how as parents we have heard about vaccine being taught to us when we have vaccinated our children on many childhood vaccination. Talking about transmission of HPV has its place. Selectively, in a private clinical case, when responding to a patient's questions, or in an educational setting where where the environment supports informed, stigma-free dialogue. For broad public health facing communication, cancer prevention framing is the most effective way to encourage uptake. And of course, normalizing action. Use the language that we are familiar with. Normalize your desired action. It's a standard practice. It's regular. It's recommended for HPV vaccination. Discussing the topic in the context of other childhood vaccines, possibly a booster of TD, Tdap at the age of 10. Other health topics, other adolescent health topics, gives proper context and allows parents and public to understand its importance. Again, I think HPV vaccine may be rolling out and may be new to your country, including, of course, in our country in India, but it is not a new vaccine. It has been there longer than the cell phones, iPhones that we all hold. So no, it is not an old vaccine, and talk about it as such, and not like a new, special, different vaccine. And finally, as you're talking about communication, make the action easy. When creating messages, make the decision to act, and taking action easy for your target audience. Make the messages clear, confident, simple messaging that supports your decision making, and tell them, make your call to action very clear. Who should get vaccinated? Where should I go get the vaccine? When? And then is it coming at a cost? And of course, those things are quite the same when you're talking about speaking. Repetition is good. We as humans need to hear a message many, many times for it to stick. Use messages in different contexts to increase the dose. Again, messages and communication also has a dose so that people receive. This is where alignment matters. If the messages aren't similar between the voices, for example, coming from school or clinics or social media, people may not connect with it. And the messages don't have to be exactly the same. They just have to be similar for it to become more memorable. We deal with this a lot when dealing with HPV vaccine. And of course, to training to some extent. When debunking myths, state the positive opposite. When we repeat myths, it makes the information more familiar and unintentionally cements the myth. Instead, make sure to communicate the facts in the easiest memorable manner. And we talked about trusted messengers. They can be leveraged in your messaging in many different ways. Through images, doctors with the family. Having trusted messengers directly communicate the messages. Text messages from the Ministry of Health. Doctors sharing messages in their clinic. Trusted messenger also possibly recording videos and speaking at events, which we have all used. When the trusted messenger is not available, you could also use a signature in the communication or your messages, and this has been seen quite effective. What you see here is not coming from India, but it is coming from Colombia, and has really been validated and proven to be very effective, where central health authorities, messages were coming from the insurance companies, but signed by the central authority because of the trust that parents have within Colombia. And finally, some best practices on images. Again, make it positive, happy family, happy child, good outcomes, no needles. It invokes fear, feeling of pain. Again, violence or cotton is okay, because once show a happy family post-vaccination. Make it relevant, or include medical settings where you can see the physician standing with a family that has just completed the vaccination with a happy child and happy mother, and don't miss the grandmother. And that is where the relatability comes from the community, where you can see a father and a grandmother in the picture, just because that has relevance within the Indian context. And in summary, and remember, what we say matters. How you say it, or how we say it, matters even more. And again, finally, how it is heard by the target audience matters the most. Thank you.